G'day everyone and welcome to a special episode of Two Cousins, One Chat. There is one fairly fundamental thing missing from this episode. That is one of the cousins. So I guess you could say it's one cousin, one chat, except I'm here with a very special guest. It's in fact my dad, Joe. How you going, Dad?
G'day, Ben. How you going? Glad to be here.
Yeah, Dad's over from Melbourne. He's visited and I thought, well, hey, why not? Let's have a little episode while you're here.
Yeah, up the production costs and fly me in from Melbourne, no problem.
He's very expensive. Very expensive. Did you have a good trip over from Melbourne?
Yeah, no, it was. I thought it was snowing, actually. It was white all the way.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Cloudy, really clouded in. And, of course, a couple of people had their windows down, so that made it a bit colder as well in the plane, you know.
That's never good, is it?
No, not at all, no.
Now, Dad, you've lived in Melbourne for, I think, about 24 years?
29.
29 years?
1994 I moved over, September.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a long time. But you were born and bred in Adelaide up until that point, weren't you?
Yep, absolutely, yes. I was born in Adelaide. Yeah.
And so so this is actually a bit of a quiz, pop quiz.
Oh,
You're not
right.
prepared.
I'm up for quizzes.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. I want to see how much you know about Adelaide.
Okie dokie, yes.
So it's kind of old school Adelaide. It's not Adelaide
right.
now. It's Adelaide, you know, in the time where you might have actually remembered.
I
you might actually
understand
remember
where you're
when
coming
you grew
from,
up.
Ben, hopefully.
Yeah, okay. So what were some of the fun things you got up to when you were a kid in Adelaide?
Oh, well, we used to go down to Semaphore Beach and there were sideshows down there then.
Mm-hmm, still up.
Yeah, is there? Oh, I haven't been down there for quite some time. And my sister and I don't know if you've ever spoken to her, she's 5 years older than me.
Vaguely remember, yeah.
Yeah, we used to go to a beach called Kilcaldy. I don't even think it's there anymore.
Okay.
And the water played a big part in our lives. And we'd go down the beach with my brother and we'd get down there about 9 o'clock in the morning and we wouldn't come home till 6.
Yeah.
And we'd eat fish and chips. I remember those things.
Okay.
And I used to make go-karts. They were beer boxes. They were timber boxes and they held 24 long neck bottles in them.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to put 6-inch nails on each corner down the bottom and put apples on them. We had an apple tree out the back. And I used to take that across the Port Road by the Coca-Cola factory down to the River Torrens. And I'd put it on the slope and I'd ride that box into the river.
Jeez. Okay,
with my sister normally, sometimes on my own. And I'd come out and I'd have leeches on me.
Yeah.
So I had to scrape leeches off. And if we went with other people, we'd scrape the leeches off too. So that was capital F fun in those days, Ben. You know?
Okay. Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to run around the house. We had gravel around the house and I used to push a wheelbarrow around the house. That was my toy. Yeah. Or ride a bike with no tyres. It just had metal rims.
Oh, dear. Okay. Wow, who needs tyres?
So you're glad you went in for this interview
I'm
now?
really glad, yeah. And yeah. All right, Dad. So this is now, we're going to see how well you know Adelaide, all right? So what I've done is I've got a bunch of questions together, some of them multiple choice, some of them not, just to see how well you think you know Adelaide. Some of it's kind of like iconic Adelaide stuff, and we'll see how much you know. So should we just get straight into it?
Might as well, Ben, yeah.
Okay, let's do it. All right, so here we go. Question 1, Dad. This is a multiple choice, okay? So what year, you know Haig's chocolates, of course.
Oh, yes.
Very famously established in Adelaide and now I think maybe global.
Yes.
So the question is, and it's multiple choice, what year was Haig's established?
Okay.
Okay, so we've got A, 1926, B, 1899, C, 1915, or D, 1972?
Okay, I'll go with 1899.
1899?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was 1915.
Oh, I was going to say
but
that
you're
next.
actually you're actually close though, kinda. Like you know, you were sort of in the era, you know,
only
just
26 years out.
just before the turn of the century.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so 1st of May 1915.
Oh, right. Oh, that's interesting. I'll lock that in, Ben.
Yeah. Were there any other chocolate stores that were around that were kind of big that you don't think are around anymore? Like there's Darrell Lee, there's Haig's, there's Cadbury's. Were there any others that you used to?
Yeah, there was Nestle. It was
Of
called
course.
Nestles in those days.
Yeah.
And there was McRobertson's.
Oh, yeah.
They used to make cherry rights.
They
but
did.
But I think Nestle's taken all that over now. But that's some that I can recollect just off the top of my head.
Men's as well.
Men's, yes. Well,
They're
men's
made here
fruit
still.
chocs, they're still around a bit. But I think men's are going to start making violet crumbles again under public pressure.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard that on the radio.
Every now and then your voice goes a bit posh. It's kind of good. It's like you're obviously used to talking on the radio a lot, Dad.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm a radio man from way back. My middle name should be Radiohead.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so question 2. There've been a lot of Adelaide suburbs that have come and gone, right? So, just the suburbs that we've got now aren't always the suburbs we've had. There's been a whole bunch of suburbs that have come and been created and just disappeared into history. So I'm going to give you 4 suburbs, and you have to tell me which of these 4 was not once an Adelaide suburb.
Okay.
We're going to test you and see if you remember.
Was not once a suburb.
So there's 4, 3 of them were, and 1 of them isn't. So which one am I making up, basically?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So the first one is A. A is Braebank. B, Fentonville. C, Pendleton. And D, York.
Okay. Sorry about the dead air there.
No, that's okay. Thinking. I might put some thinking music in. Who knows?
Yeah, you're not able to go through them again, are you?
Of course, absolutely. So we had A, Braebank, B, Fentonville, C, Pendleton, and D, York.
Oh, I'm going for B. I don't think that was a suburb.
Correct.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't think
Really?
that it was.
So the others rang a bell, did
Yeah,
they?
they did. Yeah,
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so Braebank was kind of now where O'Halloran Hill is. Pendleton is near Blair Athol, or now Blair Athol, so prospective Blair Athol area.
Yep.
And York was actually Beverley, so sort of Port Road kind of
I
way.
remember York, yeah.
I thought that might have thrown you.
And some of the roads have changed as well, Ben, I don't know if I'm getting into one of your questions, but South Road was Irish Harp Road, Taylor's Road. It had 2 or 3 names until they made it the one road, yeah.
Really?
Yep. There were several roads like that became one single name that had multiple names, and they went through multiple suburbs, yeah.
And so they just thought, no, stuff this, let's just make it one road.
Being a Maris Brothers boy, of course, I knew a lot of the suburbs. That's why I got that one right, yeah.
It was part of your passing test, was it? I actually have an old street directory, which I think you might have seen. That was my grandfather's.
Has it got a metal cover?
Yeah.
I actually handed that on to you.
Oh, so you gave it to me.
Your grandfather gave it to me.
But
which was my father-in-law.
Yeah, your father-in-law, yeah. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so I've still got that.
That's good.
How good's that? Yeah. So, okay, question 3. Which of these 2 jetties is longer? Okay.
Yeah.
So for those who are not familiar with Adelaide, when talking West Coast, obviously where there's a lot of ocean, you've got Grange Beach, which has a great pizza place where we often go.
Yep.
And then there's also a little bit further south, Brighton Beach, which is also very popular. So which one of those 2 is longer, Grange Beach or Brighton Beach?
I think Brighton is.
You think Brighton's longer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't sound like it's right, though.
No, it's incorrect.
It's Grange, is it?
But I would have picked Brighton as well because it's probably more well known. But no, so Grange is about 305 metres long.
Yeah.
Which for the oldies is 1,000 feet.
Yep.
And Brighton is only 220 metres.
Oh, goodness me.
Which is around 722
feet. No wonder I didn't
feet.
catch any fish off that Brighton jetty. My line wasn't going out far enough.
It's too shallow.
Yeah, too shallow there, yeah. I thought you were going to throw in a far west.
Way west.
Yeah, I know there's a very long one over
Lincoln.
there. So, yeah, not Port Lincoln, but I've just forgotten the name of the town now. I'll have to take a tablet to remember. Yeah.
Thevenard? Sejuna?
Oh, come on, stop showing off.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, question 4. Don Dunstan was the Premier of South Australia twice. Okay, so that's not the question. That's just a bit of backup information. The first time was only for 321 days.
Okay.
So he was a Premier for only 321 days, which seems really strange. And then another Premier came in between. He came back. How many years did he serve as Premier in his second stint?
I think he did 2 terms, and I think they were 3-year terms then. And I reckon he was a very progressive Premier too. Adelaide Festival of Arts and Adelaide even, I think he may have introduced.
Mm.
I'll say, I'd like to say 9 or 8, but I'm going to stick with 6.
6 years?
Yeah.
You should have stuck with 8, Dad.
Yeah, I think he did go out mid-term. That's quite right.
Well, it was 8 years and 258 days.
Oh,
which is
goodness,
almost,
nearly 9
almost
years.
9 years.
Yeah. Then he went over to Melbourne and developed Chinatown.
Oh.
He did that for the City Council of Melbourne
Wow.
City Council.
Did he?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Very progressive man. I met him, Ben.
I know. I was going to say, tell us about when you met him, because I know that you did meet him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did. I met him several times because he bought in a scheme in South Australia. It was called the Red Scheme. Something employment. It was an employment scheme. And we lived down there, you yourself as well. We lived down at Kristy, Morphett Vale then, Christie's Downs, I think it was called. And anyway, I got really involved in the community in this Red Scheme. And what it did, it built a lot of pine huts that were very well furnished inside, and they became community meeting places where the community would meet and do several activities. And your mum, my then wife, was on the committee as well. Anyway, Don Dunstan came down to open hours because we were very progressive, and you know, I used to ring him up and get through to his secretary and speak to him
when he was
that
the
way.
Premier?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He actually asked me to be the member for Kingston in the Labor Party.
Did he?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think the Liberals have got it now, but that was the seat down there at the time, the state seat. Anyway, I was very active, you know, at the football club and in the community in general. And anyway, he came out this particular day to open up this hut, this Red Scheme hut. There were several, but he chose ours to open.
Cool.
Of course, I was the MC, you know, give me the microphone. And did a lot of things that day. And one of them was to introduce him, and he opened it up and officially opened it and cut a ribbon, and we ran a raffle. You know, because I wanted to raise some money, and your mum and I were quite active in doing that as well. Anyway, and the prize was a 6-foot teddy bear, great big thing. You couldn't wrap your arms around it, Ben. And anyway, he won the raffle.
No.
Yeah. So he had gone. He'd done his opening and had a cup of tea, and the raffle, because I dare say he probably would have donated it back and let us raise the money again, you know. Anyway, so his office then was on the 7th or 8th floor of the state admin building in Victoria Square. And in those days, I worked for a company called John Sands, which have now amalgamated with somebody else. So I had a biggish car. So I got this big teddy bear in the back of the car, and I parked out the front of the state admin building in a no standing zone. So I thought, I'm taking this to the Premier. If I get a fine, I'll just... So anyway, I get in the lift and go up whatever the floor was. I get out of the lift and I go to the desk, the person at the desk, and they said, "Oh, what are you doing here?" I said, "Oh, I've come to give Don Dunstan this teddy bear. He won our raffle." And she said, "Oh, just leave it here." And I said, "No, I'd like to give it to him personally. That's what the community wants me to do." Excuse me.
Yeah.
Didn't know if you had a cough button.
I will silence that out. So.
Yeah, good. So he came out.
He did, really?
He did. He came out. Yep. Wow. So we had a good chat. So that was a couple of times I met him. And then I did meet him once at another time at a beach, at West Beach, one Sunday morning. And the Nord Football Club happened to be there. He lived in Nord.
Oh, yeah.
And Michael Aish had just won a Magarey medal that year, I think, or maybe the year before. So we decided, whoever was running that, decided to have a 3-legged foot race. So, of course, you know, mouth of the South, Joe Kempster, you know, I step up and, you know, who would you like to run with, Joe? And I said, with Michael Aish. Yeah. So Michael Aish and he put his left leg and we had somebody tight and we won the race by several metres. Yeah, in those days I was very fast.
Yeah.
And so was he, obviously, you know.
Yeah, so Michael
and I kept up with him.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah. It was good.
So for those of you listening that are not in Adelaide or from around the world or other parts, Michael Aish was a very good footballer for Nord, for the Redlegs.
Yeah, medalist, yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know a great deal about football, but his son or nephews or sons are still playing in the AFL
his brother's son, yeah.
Yeah.
Plays for Fremantle, yep.
That's it.
Well, I saw the three generations play. I saw James play, the one you're talking about. I saw Michael and Andrew play for Nord, and I saw Peter Ace play as well. That was their dad. Yeah.
Wow.
Three generations of Aces.
I should have had a Michael Aish question. Sorry about that. Hey, all right. So what we're going to do is we've got a couple more questions to bring it home. What do you reckon?
Okie dokie. See how I go.
Okay. All right. So this one's a bit of a musical question, Dad. If you can cast your mind back. The Beatles made a famous visit to Adelaide. Massive.
Yep. I went and saw them.
So you did go and see them?
On Anzac Highway, yep.
What year was it that they came
1964.
to Adelaide? You can remember that, no doubt, no question in your mind whatsoever.
Yep.
It was actually the 12th of June, 1964.
Okay.
And in doing my research for this episode, I looked up some images of King William Street.
Yep.
Because they did an appearance and they went from the airport to the town hall, which is where you would have seen them on Anzac Highway.
The South Australian Hotel in North Terrace they went to.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Well, they were basically given an official welcome, and then later in the afternoon they came back out the front of Parliament House, and I think King William Street was basically overrun with people.
Yeah, that's right. I went to the hotel one, South Australian Hotel.
Yeah.
Sorry about my voice.
That's okay.
I get nervous when I talk to you, Ben.
Yeah, I know. I'm very intimidating. That's good. So you did actually go. So
my brother and his wife drove me there.
Yeah, and
I saw them in the car go past.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Yep.
It looks massive, and they spoke of it fondly. Like you see quotes John Lennon remembering Adelaide and just how warm, welcome they were in Australia.
Bob Francis brought them to Adelaide. He was a disc jockey and he went on to be 5AD manager and a nighttime host. But he was very, very instrumental in bringing the Beatles to Adelaide. He got a petition going through. I think Brodjiak brought them out to Australia, and he got them to come to Adelaide. And they performed at Centennial Hall in front of about 3,200 people, and they were only on stage for 30 minutes, and none of the audience could hear anything they sang because of the screaming. It was a phenomenon.
Yeah,
the
one
Beatles,
of those things. Unbelievable.
Girls used to cry.
Yeah, I know.
Hearing their, and the radio stations would be they'd play 2 or 3 bars of their song because they weren't allowed to play it until a certain date.
Oh,
and
so it's like
people
teasers.
would bring in and say, "Oh, we love that."
Yeah,
you know, and they just heard 8 bars of music.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Never be another group like that.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Well, while we're on the music questions, I'm going to
yeah.
switch it up a little bit here. Oh, jeez. Actually, you know what? No, we're going to come back to that one. Come back with got another music question in a minute for you.
Okay.
Sorry. Are you okay with me messing that up? You're fine.
No, that's all right.
You don't need to worry.
I didn't know if it's too long, you know.
If it's too long, I'll kick you in the leg or something.
Oh, okay.
It's all good.
That's why I went like that. You want me to short?
Yeah, no, that's okay.
It's radio, you know.
Yeah, that's it. No, we're good. I'm sure our listeners are loving it. I hope you are enjoying this special episode where I'm talking to me dad, Joe Kempster. Kristy's not here. In fact, she doesn't even know I'm recording this. I'm going to let her know later that, hey, Dad was here and I just chucked another episode in. And she'll be like, damn, why didn't you let me be part
taking
of it?
Control.
So sorry, Kristy. I'm sorry that you're not part of it. But anyway, Dad, this is a question about Holden. So Holden obviously had plants, and I hosted a quiz night the other night and we had questions about Holden.
Okay.
I didn't realise that there was actually a Woodville plant and an Elizabeth plant. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Anyway, so there was an Elizabeth plant, and the question for you, it opened in 1963, okay? What was the first model Holden that was built at the Elizabeth plant?
FX.
Oh, you're going to go FX.
And then FJ was the second one.
So this is at the Elizabeth plant.
Okay. So you're saying it's a bit later than that, are you?
It opened in 1963.
Oh, 63. Oh, that was the EJ Holden then. 1963, side valve. And then 1964 was the EH.
So what would they be? So, well, I'm basically giving you the answer here. If they're preparing 1964 cars in 1963, what might have been the first model that they built at the Elizabeth plant?
Oh, it must have been the EH then.
It was. Yeah, sorry, that was a gimme.
I was
That
going back a little bit further because...
You were?
Yeah.
But you were going back to the Woodville plant, probably.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Because in 1948, automotive history was made in Australia by the introduction of the 1948 FX Holden.
Okay.
That was a what do you call them at school? That's what I presented.
Comprehension type.
That's
you did a
that's
presentation.
what I presented.
Did you? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Would you still have that speech? That'd be a nice one to read out. Kristy and I have a
but
vault.
that was how I opened up.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
History was made.
That'd
be a good vault. I'd like to do that. Yeah. Well, that's cool. And it became the last remaining Holden plant in 1989 when Dandenong closed. And then Elizabeth closed in 2017, much to the disgust of many Adelaideans.
My word. It was a high employer,
Absolutely.
A lot of school base loss there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. So, look, they're trying to repurpose the site, and there are some things going on there at the moment. But good on you, Dad. You got there. Kind of. I kind of helped you.
Sort of, yeah. I need a bit of help.
I don't mind helping you from time to time.
My age,
So this is a two-part of this. This is actually our last question.
Oh, okay.
You've done well. I think you've done well. I have no idea how many you've got.
I was just getting warmed up then.
You didn't get the Haigs one.
No.
You got Fentonville. You didn't get the Grange Jetty.
No.
You didn't get Don Dunstan.
No.
You got the Beatles, and I kind of threw you a bone with Holden because I was feeling sorry for you. But this is a last.
So is it a pass so far? Or
well, let's
do I need
say
to get this one?
Well, there's no pass or fail. There's no failure here.
Oh, thank God, the pressure's off.
So this is a question about the Masters Apprentices.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the Masters Apprentices, for those that don't know, you should know. But look, they were an Australian rock band formed in 1965 in Adelaide, here in South Australia.
Yep.
So can you remember, they had a lot of people come and go in this band.
Yeah.
For some reason, they had like 20 people overall that came and went from the Masters Apprentices.
They did.
They were inducted into the South Australian Musical Hall of Fame. They've been inducted into the ARIA Hall of Fame as well. So massive. Can you remember, or how many of the original members do you reckon you could name? There were 4.
Yeah.
No, there were 5, I beg your pardon.
Jim Keys was the lead singer.
Yep.
They had several drummers. No, I can't remember their names. John Farnham's manager, what was his name?
You've got him. You
know goodness me. Gee.
That's who it is.
Yeah.
Starts with the G.
Oh, Glenn Wheatley.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a guitarist.
Yep.
He wrote some of their songs, actually.
Okay.
Him and Jim Keys. I used to go and watch them at the Octagon Theatre in Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Every Saturday night for about 2 years. They were the resident band.
Really?
Wild. Loved it.
Yeah, cool.
I'm sorry I can't remember the others.
Well, the others were there was Jim Keys on vocals and harmonica.
Yeah.
Why not? Mick Bauer was the lead guitarist.
Yeah.
Glenn Wheatley was bass guitar.
Yeah.
Peter Tilbrook played the chords, rhythm guitar, and Rick Morrison.
Just give me the... Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you have got it, would you? Sorry.
Maybe, yeah. But there was another one too. He runs a pub in Adelaide and they still do Masters nights there up the top, the King's Head or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's closed recently.
Yeah, it did. Just closed down. Yeah, that's why it was in the press in Melbourne, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they won Hoadley's Battle of the Sounds too in Adelaide. Used to be a place just out the back of the railway station where the casino sort of is now. And there was a big hall there. And we had Battle of the Sounds in Adelaide. All the Melbourne bands came over here.
Yeah.
And the Masters won. The Masters Apprentices, Then they went to Melbourne. Then they went to England. And they recorded some great stuff. I got them on my phone, the Masters.
Have you?
I got an old car as well as a good car. I got a CD player in the old one. And I often play the Masters.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, the question is actually...
One of my favourite was Undecided.
Oh, okay. All right, well...
Sorry to interrupt.
No, look, it's fine. This episode's about you, not me.
That's good.
Finally.
Me.
The Masters Apprentices obviously had a string of successful hits in the late 1960s and 70s.
Yeah.
This is a question of these 2 singles, which were their biggest, which of them went higher in the national charts?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one is Turn Up Your Radio in 1970. And the second one is Because I Love You in 1971. Which one went higher up in the national charts.
Have to be Turn Up Your Radio.
Correct.
Oh, good.
Well done.
Oh, gee, I might have got to 50%.
I think you might have now, Dad. So Turn Up Your Radio, released in 1970, reached number 7
Good.
nationally.
It's a great song.
How good's that? It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And reading about it, they wanted it to be intentionally loud and almost a bit obnoxious. I think you could say it definitely
they
is.
achieved that. Yeah.
And Because I Love You, which was released on the next album, because they released a whole bunch of albums really quickly, one after the other there.
Yeah.
1971 reached number 12. So still that's decent, isn't
very
it?
good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
So I knew you'd like that because I knew you were a massive Masters Apprentices fan.
Yeah, well, I used to knock around with the drummer, and he actually invited me to the Decca Studios. I think, Hazy. I think they were in, where the old Lion Hotel is, that street. What's that
Melbourne
street? Melbourne Street. And I watched them put down a tape, like a trial tape of Undecided.
Oh, right. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
He worked at G&R Wills then, wasn't a full-time musician. And I worked at Paramount Electroplaters. That was a pretty important job I had,
He called the manager and said, I need one of your employees down at our recording studio now.
No, I used to...
Yeah, I know. That was
used to see him around the city, doing the deliveries,
Yeah, that was a joke, Dad.
Big M, we called him.
Oh, right. Well, there you go. Well, that's the quiz, Dad. That's a pop quiz.
Oh, good.
I think you did pretty well.
Yeah, reasonable for somebody who hadn't had their medication yet,
Well, I think you've done. I didn't want to get you post meds. I wanted to get you pre meds.
That was a bit of a trap.
Just in case. Yeah. Just in case. Well, for that, I'll get you get a free Balfour's frog cake.
Oh, so, beautiful! Yeah. I've heard you talking about the frog cakes. Everybody,
I've got a few in the freezer that I couldn't finish.
You couldn't finish.
I couldn't finish them. Oh, well, thanks for joining us, Dad. Do you reckon next time you're in Adelaide, you'll join us for another episode?
Absolutely, right. Talk about some of the shops and how they've changed.
All right. And
wonder who remembers Rick's, the bakery in Rundle Street, RIX.
And what was the one on Victoria Square? Was it Moore's or no?
Moore's was the store. Yeah, there was Moore's, People Stores. That. Yeah, they've all gone.
Lots more
Miller Anderson's. Yeah. Now Miller Apartments.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a store.
Okay, well, that's enough history for now, Dad. There's only so much.
Well, thanks very much for having me, Ben.
Oh, no, it's been my pleasure. And we are going to have you back real soon.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this trip down memory lane. For those that are this side of Neil, you're probably nodding, going, yes, I remember that.
I'm running late for my plane now. I've got to get back.
Yeah, he's got to get back. He came over specifically for this one. So remember, you can catch up on all our previous episodes. Just search Either Side of Neil. We're on Buzzsprout. We're on Spotify. You can follow us on Instagram at Either Side of Neil 3418. And just get on board, and we'd love to have you. We'd love to hear what you think of the episodes, and we'll see you next time.